When we lost some of our favorite superheroes due to Thanos' fingersnap of doom at the end of Infinity War, we were absolutely gutted, but we're sure they'll find a way to reverse the devastation in Avengers Endgame. With Captain Marvel entering the fold, the debate over who's the strongest superhero in the MCU rages on, so today we're going to take a look at every confirmed hero in Endgame and rank them by power from weakest to strongest. While many of us wouldn't consider Pepper Potts a hero, she is one of the few confirmed characters in Endgame, so we decided to include her and put her right at the bottom of our list. Let's be honest, Pepper has had more of a background role in the MCU than anything else, and her life changed for the worse after Avengers Infinity War. Her boyfriend Tony Stark is missing and floating around in space on board the Milano while she's in New York City. We don't know what role she's going to play in Avengers Endgame, but one of the rumors floating around is that she'll use an Iron Man suit and become Rescue. While Stark's equipment is very powerful, Pepper doesn't have much experience using it and wants to get away from anything superhero related to start a family, so we just don't see that happening. Since her debut in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Mantis has been a disappointing character who's nothing like her comic book version in the MCU. She was one of the characters who turned to dust after Thanos' fingersnap of doom, but she's in the cast list for Avengers Endgame, meaning that she could definitely make a return and we fully expect her to. She's clearly the weakest of the Guardians, and she's not as well trained as Gamora, as powerful as Drax, or as clever as Star-Lord. She's nowhere near as strong as the other Avengers, but she's definitely more powerful than Pepper Potts, so at least she has that going for her. At the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Scott Lang was in the quantum realm when Thanos snapped his fingers and turned Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Hope Van Dyne to dust, leaving him with no way out. But if you saw the Endgame trailer, you know Scott somehow escaped and is ready to help our heroes reverse the devastation. Now that he's worn the Ant-Man suit in 3 different movies, it's safe to say Scott has a good grasp on how the technology works. He's learned how to use it in combat, and he's even turned into Giant Man before. It's also safe to assume that his knowledge of the quantum realm will come in handy when it's time for the Avengers to take down Thanos, but in terms of raw power, Ant-Man is lacking. Turning small won't do much against the Mad Titan. Right after Ant-Man is the Wasp, just like in the title of their movie. Now, if Ant-Man and the Wasp taught us anything, it's that Hope Van Dyne seems to have a much better grasp of the technology in her suit than Scott Lang does. After all, she is the one who got the suit with the wings and blasters. Sorry, Scotty. These additions make the Wasp much more powerful than Ant-Man, and we need more strong female characters in the MCU, so we're all for it. She can hit harder and faster by utilizing all of the Pym particles at her disposal. We've seen it in her car chases and even in hand-to-hand combat. While this sounds super great on paper, unfortunately her powers are dwarfed by most of the Avengers. She's more than capable of holding her own in a fight, but she doesn't have super strength and speed. The talking tree that can only say 3 words, Groot's definitely a fan favorite. He was another one of the Guardians of the Galaxy to fade away after Thanos' snap and has gone through a bit of a regression since being introduced to the MCU. He was hands down the most powerful of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the first film, but after sacrificing himself to save his friends, he had to go through a regrowth process. While we miss baby Groot, angsty teenage Groot is an awesome character as well. He can still do some damage as a teen, but Groot lacks the size and strength of his adult version. Unless he becomes a young adult in Avengers Endgame and somehow ages faster as a pile of dust, it seems like we'll get a much weaker version of Groot in Endgame. It's a real shame. Black Widow doesn't get the love she deserves. She's been an OG Avenger and has appeared in tons of movies, but it's gonna take until 2020 before she finally gets her own standalone film. She started off as the weakest Avenger in 2012, but has started to come into her own as of late, showing her true potential. She's a trained assassin who spent a lot of time as a secret Avenger, so you know she's a very dangerous weapon and an important part of the team. If you recall in Avengers Infinity War, she was actually one of the heroes who gave Proxima Midnight a run for her money before Scarlet Witch finished her off once and for all. Black Widow doesn't have a superpower, but her skills and training make her powerful enough to do some damage, even to cosmic baddies. It looks like Hawkeye's back in Avengers Endgame, but he's not the man you remember. The first trailer showed him in Japan, where he was holding a sword instead of a bow. While non-comic book fans are shocked by this change, comic book fans saw it coming, and he's taken on his Ronin identity. Now, we don't know the cause of his identity change just yet, although it's fair to assume that it's because he's lost all, or if at least not part of his family, to the snap. But something definitely flipped the switch inside of Clint Barton, as he seems more aggressive than ever before. He takes lives without thinking twice and even cuts his own arm with his blade. This untamed and wild Clint is going to be a more powerful fighter than he was as Hawkeye, so we'll give him the nod over Black Widow. War Machine was one of the first characters introduced in the MCU and has been around since the first Iron Man movie came out that started this whole thing back in 2008, but he has yet to play a major role in any of the movies so far. Rhodey's one of the characters we know survived Thanos' snap, and we expect his role to be minor once again in Endgame. His version of the Iron Man suit can carry tons of weapons, hence the name War Machine. During the Battle of Wakanda and Infinity War, we saw War Machine unleash all sorts of crazy explosives, which absolutely devastated the army of Outriders. The thing is, while War Machine has plenty of gadgets, it's still lagging behind the tech that's in Tony Stark's suit. Rhodey's suit is great, it just doesn't have nanotech and jet propulsors. Rocket was the only member of the Guardians of the Galaxy to survive the devastation caused by Thanos, and it seems like he might join the Avengers in their fight against the Mad Titan in Endgame. He's a much more powerful character than you think. Sure, he's just a snarky little trash panda, but even though his bite isn't strong enough to take down Thanos, his knowledge regarding technology and weaponry might be. As we've seen, he can create some of the deadliest weapons, like the Hadron Enforcer. That thing was insane. He's also very skilled and accurate when it comes to using weapons he created while showing that he fears absolutely nothing. Heck, we saw him take down an entire squad of Ravagers using his own clever schemes in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So his intelligent mind more than makes up for his lack of power. Sticking with the theme of genius characters, we have Shuri from Black Panther. Now, according to some information about Avengers Endgame, Shuri survived Thanos' snap, but her whereabouts are unknown. She was nowhere to be seen in the trailer, but we're sure she's still alive somewhere in Wakanda. It's been pretty much confirmed that Shuri's the smartest character in the MCU. We saw her nearly remove the Mind Stone from Vision while somehow keeping him alive, and she's incredibly skilled after crafting things with vibranium, like the Black Panther suit, so there's pretty much nothing she can't do. That being said, her intelligence doesn't translate into combat potential. She can create some amazing tech, but sadly, that alone doesn't make her much of a threat in the grand scheme of things. Whether you call him Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, the White Wolf, or Steve Rogers' bestie, Bucky's a fan favorite. After getting reprogrammed by Hydra, he turned into a dangerous assassin known as the Winter Soldier. After he was cured of his programming by the good people of Wakanda, he became known as the White Wolf and has been a powerful asset to the Avengers. He trained with the military, spent time as an assassin, and lived in Wakanda, so he's hands down one of the most self-sufficient Avengers on the team. As of Avengers Infinity War, the good people of Wakanda also fitted Bucky with an indestructible vibranium arm. While this may come as a surprise, he has around the same level of powers as Captain America, since he was created with a variation of the super soldier serum. That being said, it's no surprise to see Captain America come right after Bucky Barnes. Cap is many things. He's powerful, virtuous, passionate, but the one thing that stands out the most is definitely his determination. It's what makes him so dangerous to any villain in the universe. Cap will never back down from a fight and will never stop until he does what he believes is right and just. His determination combined with his enhanced abilities from the super soldier serum turn him into the perfect leader for the Avengers. His drive has led him to do some incredible things, such as preventing a helicopter from taking off, blocking one of Thanos' punches, and even surviving falls that no ordinary human being would. He's willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. While Captain America might have the super soldier serum and incredible determination, Nebula has cybernetic enhancements given to her by the world's worst dad, Thanos. Every time she lost to her sister Gamora in training, Thanos would replace one of her body parts with a stronger mechanical version. Oh, what a nice guy. Nebula is incredibly passionate in her own pursuits, which, when combined with her training in robot parts, makes her one of the deadliest women in the universe. Now, she's not quite as powerful and well-trained as Gamora, but Nebula's still more than capable and knows how to handle herself. Plus, since she has robot parts, she could just reattach them if they fall off. At least something good came out of Thanos' decision, but she still wants to take the Mad Titan down once and for all. Man, Thanos' kids hate him so much. Getting his first standalone film in 2017, the MCU Peter Parker quickly learned what it meant to be Spider-Man and how being a crime fighter fit into his everyday life. Now, he undoubtedly still has some growing up to do because, well, he's only a teenager, but Spider-Man's currently one of the most impressive Avengers out there. While he doesn't use his Spidey sense as much as he does in the comics, it's still there, and so is his web-slinging, super strength, and incredible agility. He's definitely one of the Avengers with the most potential. When he got the Iron Spidey upgrade in Infinity War, all it did was improve his already impressive skills, allowing him to land a few good shots on Thanos. He did turn to dust in the most tear-jerking fashion, but he did appear in the Far From Home trailer, so don't worry, he'll be back. The Black Panther is a very skilled warrior. T'Challa has enhanced abilities, training that's on par with Black Widow, and the wisdom of a long line of Wakandan kings. On top of all of that, he has the Black Panther suit that's entirely made out of vibranium, one of the strongest metals in the world, making it capable of taking the impact of bullets from a helicopter turret without showing a single scratch. It's safe to say he's more than prepared to take on intergalactic threats. Without his suit, we'd say his power is about the same as Captain America and Bucky Barnes, but we don't expect him to be without his suit in Endgame once he comes back to life, because that's what makes him so much more powerful. T'Challa's suit allows him to store and use kinetic energy, leap across entire buildings, and claw through almost anything. Drax is known as the Destroyer for a reason, and that's because he's destroyed plenty of things across the galaxy. Thanos killed his family, which consumed him with rage, and the desire to avenge his family's ultimate demise. He used his super strength to take out many different foes with the goal of going toe-to-toe with Ronan the Accuser. There's no denying Drax is one of the strongest characters in the entire MCU, but even he can't take out giant evil space villains. That being said, his skills and strength alone make him an absolute beast. He can clash with Sakarans and come out unscathed, and has been able to launch people into the air with a single punch. Yes, he was dusted at the end of Infinity War, but he'll be back for what might be Dave Bautista's last hurrah with the MCU. Due to Tony Stark's incredible intellect, he's able to constantly improve his Iron Man suit, and because of this, he's gotten stronger in each of his film appearances. He was at the peak of his strength in Infinity War when he built a suit of nanotech that could take some of the hardest blows before breaking. Oh yeah, and it could also pack quite a punch as well. In fact, he lasted the longest in a battle with Thanos, which just goes to show you how powerful he's become. The only problem with Tony is that without his Iron Man suit, he doesn't pose much of a threat at all. As we saw in the trailer of Endgame, there are some situations he can't get out of when he has to rely on others. That being said, he's easily one of the strongest Avengers with his suit on. Wong's actually a pretty powerful character. He's also the protector of the Sanctums and the Time Stone. Wong has had many years of magical training under the tutelage of the Ancient Ones, so saying he's a master of the mystic arts is an understatement. He knows how to use his abilities to take care of a multitude of different enemies. He's quick to make a decision, and we saw this in his fight at the beginning of Infinity War, where he cut off Cull Obsidian's hand and stranded the member of the Black Order on the other side of the world. All of this, and we still haven't even seen his true potential. He's most likely the only magic user remaining at the start of Endgame too. Speaking of characters who have tons of potential, how about we talk about Scarlet Witch? Besides Thanos, everyone had a rough time in Infinity War, but Scarlet Witch probably had it the worst. She spent the entire film trying to come up with a way to save Vision, later destroying him herself before Thanos used the Time Stone to go back in time and rip the Mind Stone out of Vision, crushing him again. She got to witness her partner die twice, and she even got dusted at the end of the movie, seemingly embracing it with open arms. However, Scarlet Witch has become one of the strongest Avengers in the MCU. She'll only get stronger as the MCU progresses. The Hulk is known for smashing things, but all he did in Infinity War was get smashed by Thanos. He used to be the most powerful Avenger. I mean, Tony Stark even admitted it in the first Avengers movie, but those days are unfortunately long gone. His time as the champion of Sakaar was incredibly impressive. He defeated every opponent that stood in his way and stayed as the Jolly Green Giant the entire time. The Hulk can take pretty much any hit right to the face and act like nothing happened. In fact, it's the worst thing you could do because it'll just make him even angrier, and trust us, you don't like it when he's angry. He did take a few good hits from Thanos before going down, but we expect the Hulk to come out and play again in Avengers Endgame, desiring a rematch with the Mad Titan. The title of the strongest original Avenger has to go to Thor, who finally took it away from the Hulk in Infinity War. He was a bit annoyed that the Hulk was still considered to be the strongest Avenger in Thor Ragnarok, you know, being the champion of Sakaar and all that, but Thor quickly made us believe that he was stronger than the big guy and that his weapon of choice was Mjolnir. Now that he has Stormbreaker, Thor can channel the Bifrost and transport himself anywhere in the galaxy. Stormbreaker improves the God of Thunder's powers even more than Mjolnir did, allowing him to destroy groups of enemies in a single strike. He was even able to outmatch Thanos with all 6 Infinity Stones, but he really should have aimed for the head. Unsurprisingly, the strongest character who's confirmed to appear in Avengers Endgame is Captain Marvel, and we don't think it's up for debate. Sure, we haven't even seen her on the big screen yet, but if you've read the comics, you know just how ridiculously powerful she truly is. In fact, Kevin Feige himself admitted that she's the strongest Avenger in the MCU, so we have even more evidence to back up this claim. If the head of Marvel's studios says it, then it has to be true. In the Captain Marvel trailer, we see her take down a fleet of ships in a single blast that came straight from her hands, and she can fly around with ease, making her one of the strongest characters in the galaxy. After all, there has to be a reason why Nick Fury paged her before he turned to dust. And that's every confirmed hero in Avengers Endgame ranked according to their power. Do you agree with the list? Who do you think is going to be the strongest character in Endgame? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more MCU content. Thanks for watching!